Hey, what's going on, y'all? This is Derry Titan with the Film Mechanic Screenwriting Podcast, and today's guest is none other than the sensational writer, the extraordinaire, you could say the debonair, you could say the multi-millionaire, Shaun Sinclair. I know that rhymes. I know that rhymes. I know that rhymes. But we got Shaun Sinclair on the mic with us today, in the studio with us today. And one of the things I brought Shaun on because Shaun is the kind of writer that has extended himself beyond what a lot of writers have done. And he has moved in ways in which a lot of writers want to move. And that is we're all freelance writers, right? In some capacity or another, we are all freelance writers. But then there's those that are freelancers and then those that are entrepreneurs. And entrepreneurs are those individuals who move the market, and that's Shaun. So, Shaun, tell us a little bit about yourself right quick.
Oh man, like I said, my name is Shaun Sinclair. I'm originally from Carolina, born in a little town called Atlantic Beach, South Carolina, historically black town. For those who know, you know. For those who don't, you definitely should look it up because of Black history. But I also was raised in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and now I live in Atlanta, Georgia. I like to say I lived four lifetimes, and I'm on my fourth one right now. Started my music journey when I was a teenager. I was a rapper. I simultaneously doing my thing in the streets. Later, I went to the military to provide a better lifestyle for myself. But my street life caught up with me, so I found myself in prison when I was just 21 years old, and I had to find my way. And I resorted to the pen to write my way out of the pen. So right now, that was the genesis of my company called Pen to Pen Multimedia, where I'm an author first, author of over 18 novels, ghost written like four or five, and own Pen to Pen Multimedia, which includes Pen to Pen Publishing. Today, we've published over 140 books. Also own Pen to Pen Films, which I started in 2019, because the natural transition for an author is to go into the film space, I believe. And so I started my film company in 2019, Pen to Pen Films. Dropped my first movie, wrote, produced, and directed called The Setup. Did another one documentary called Behind the Pen. Wrote a few other films, and my last TV series, Sex Mogul, which is doing crazy right now. And that's just me in short.
See, Shaun, see, this is the thing where, you said something that was really interesting. And that was, it's a natural a transition from going from author to filmmaker. And I would agree with that. I started off as an author and I gradually moved into wanting to see those stories that was on a paper, on the screen in a more visual medium, right? And we are in that situation where there are times where people read our stuff and they like, this would be a dope movie. This would be a dope movie. And now you have movies that's out there. So you said, so let's talk about Sex Mogul right quick. And then we're gonna come back to the first movie with the setup. So Sex
Okay.
Mogul is where can we watch that at?
Right now, it's currently on Tubi. It's
Okay.
always in the most popular or most drama, or most. It's always in the top rankings on Tubi right now. Thank God.
So
You
break
can
that,
find.
so break Sex Mogul down for us. Sex Mogul. Break that down for us. What is that?
Okay, so Sex Mogul is based on my micro. I have a micro book series called Sex Mogul, and so the series is based on my books, and it's about a unique fans model, right? We only fans model for those who know. She goes on a run with a fugitive and teaches him a new way to make money, right? But aside from that, it's just a journey about love, man. These two people came from different walks of life. They ideally hate each other and what they stand for, but when they're forced to go on a run with each other, they discover things about themselves, most importantly, that they have more in common than they have in different. And they end up falling for each other and they become each other ride or die to the end. That's the gist of the story. But it's so much more. Like, I wanted to talk about how we prejudge things in people. And even the title, right? Side note, sex mogul. People, when we hear sex mogul, they think, oh gosh, I don't want to watch anything about sex. But that's hypocrisy, because porn, not saying this is porn, But the porn industry is the only thing that wasn't recession proof during the pandemic and everything. So, you know, I like to play on words, and Sex Mogul is just it's doing phenomenal, man. It's a great story about love and redemption and all of that good stuff.
It sound like it's a great storyline, and titles, catchy titles always make click click click, right?
Right,
Then once you click on it, even the people that's like, they at home with their family, they're like, oh,
right.
Sex Mogul. And then when they by themselves, they like, let me see what this is about.
Correct, correct. We like them too.
Yeah, so they click on it, and then they find out that the story has a much deeper meaning to
Indeed.
what the title is implying. And I like that you took that opportunity to. Did you invest in this yourself?
Yes. Well, to be quite honest, this is the first film that I had some I partnered with someone now.
What was that process like? Was it like what did the contracts look like? What was the percentages on that? Break down the partnership for me.
Okay, cool. So my business model is always partnerships and ownerships, but more specifically strategic partnerships. For me, I have to partner with someone who has more skin in the game than I do, or I should say has more experience. Like they have to bring. So I'm going to talk generally about partnership, but then I'll get a little bit into mine, not too much into the specifics, but I'll touch a little bit. But when it comes to strategic partnerships, I look for people who can bring something to the table that I don't already have. Right? Um, they say other people's money is the rule of business. I can agree with that, but I don't necessarily agree with that for me because I like to maximize my returns. And the only way to do that is putting your own money up for the most part. However, in this situation, my partners, they're very deep in the game already. They can bring things to the table that I couldn't bring, such as distribution opportunities, such as playing with a bigger budget so I can do better things. If you look at Sex Mogul, all of my films are good, but Sex Mogul is different and noticeably better because we had more money to play with. And that was because I had a partner who was a little more liquid than I was. You know what I mean? Typically every partnership varies, but when you there's an investor partnership, there's different types of partnerships, right? But with an investor partnership, ideally, your investor may get 100% of their investment back plus 20%, right? Or 25% or 30%. It all depends on what you negotiate. And you can also negotiate where they can get that certain percentage in perpetuity, or they can get it for 2 or 3 years. For me, I like my partners. We're like a family, quite honestly. And so it's just an ideal situation for me.
How did you come up with the split in it? Like, and what I mean by splits, how did you come up with
Uh,
the percentage that each person or each partner was going to receive? Because the reason why I ask that question is because a
uh,
lot of times people, they'll contact me and they'll say, hey, Derry, I want to do this. How much should I charge? How much percentage should they get? And 9 times out of 10, those are questions for more of a lawyer than a person who is just a filmmaker. You know, did y'all have lawyers involved?
I'll say this. Yes, there was attorneys involved. Yes. Um, you get what you negotiate. There are certain industry standards, like what I just mentioned, is typically an industry standard. But if you don't know any better, you could get your ass, you could get headed, you could come up in a bad situation if you ain't careful. So I always advise get your attorneys involved, always, because no matter how friendly you are, someone may try and pull a fast one on you, or just to know what's going on. Don't even think of it as maliciously, right? We're all in business to make money, and it's the entertainment business. So we are all in business to make money. So I would say get your attorneys involved on both sides. Fortunately, in my case, I didn't have a bad experience to where we had to get everything super crazy involved. That wasn't my experience, thank goodness. As far as splits, again, you get what you negotiate. You want to be fair, right? So with Sex Mogul, I was the writer, producer, and director. So all of those positions have points, right? Um, the writer has certain points that get paid off the top. The director has certain points that get cooked into the budget. And then as a producer, you start talking about back end and things of that nature as well. That's typically how it goes.
So for everyone that's listening right now, the reason why I'm asking Shaun these questions is because
Mhm.
I want you to understand, like some people, some of you are going to write your film and you're going to find a producer who may put up some money. But I want to talk to Shaun about one of the most important parts of what he talked about, and that's skin in the game. Perfectly clear how he invested some. Shaun, tell me, like, you invested your own money. How did you come up with the money? How did you save it? Was it from some was it like, you borrowed it? Like, how did you come up with your own money for this?
I have a very successful publishing company. And after you buy cars and shoes and other BS, you learn how to invest in yourself. And that's what I did. I knew that I wanted to shoot a movie, so I started putting my money aside.
So have you ever sold a film before?
So Sugar Baby. Yeah. So Sugar Baby is the first screenplay that I sold. Um, Man, that's my baby too. I sold it to Megamind Media.
So what
Yes.
so what was that process like? How you wrote it, it's your baby.
Mhm.
You I know you thought about producing it yourself, you know.
Yep.
So to hand over your baby to somewhere else, to someone else, to a production company, not hand it over, but to do business with a production company, to take on that script. What was that process like? Let's
Well, yeah.
in the mental health space, how did you mentally prepare yourself to do that kind of business, and then tell us the actual physical business of how that happened?
Okay. So mentally, right? I don't have any ego when I write. Well, correction. I have ego when I'm writing. I want to be like I tell anybody, I'm a writer first, right? I have ego when it comes to me writing. Every time I write something, in my mind, it's the best, right? But if you have the cure to cancer and it just sits in your garage, it does the world no good, right? So every time I write something, my only goal after I write it is to get it out to the world and make some money off of it. Let's be clear. And so Megamind Media is a production company who I respect tremendously. I'm a fan of their work, and I also have a personal relationship, not personal, but a business relationship with the founders, right? No, I can say personally, we're great friends. You know what I mean? So it was a no-brainer to me. It worked out. Megamind Media is a company that don't just, it's just not a business transaction. They treat you as family. And also, if I want to go to the next level of my career as a writer, you have to give some concessions. You know what I mean? I don't, humbly speaking, I'm not attached to the work in that regard because I can do it again and again and again. This is a gift that God gave me. And God will never give the vision without giving the provision to get out to the world. So it's just another part of the business. And and business is about relationships. People think it's about money. The money comes through the relationships. So again, strategic partnership. With Megamind, I didn't just sell it and that's that. We're partners. We're invested all the way through. And so it's just a no-brainer for me. So I knew that they were going to do these characters justice. I didn't feel any way. I wanted to direct it, but we ended up getting Jamal Hill, who is a brother. It's like my brother from another man. Like just this journey, brother, it's been like no other. Jamal Hill is a man after my own heart. We couldn't have gotten a better director. So it all worked out.
So the process. So what was the process? So you have a not only a business but a personal relationship with Megamind Media,
Mhm.
and you let them read it or they requested it. How did that happen? You, an agent, a lawyer was
Great,
involved?
great, great question. So I did a pitch deck. If everybody listening, a deck would get you a check, right? A deck would get you a check. So I did a pitch deck on Sugar Baby, right? And I did it in a Tiffany blue because the story Sugar Baby is about a young lady who going with this street guy, and he goes to jail and leave her to fend for himself. He goes to jail and leave her to fend for herself. So while he's in jail, she meets this older wealthy gentleman that offers her the world. And so she starts dating him. And then the old boyfriend comes back to jail to try and reclaim his love. He comes home from jail, and she has to make a decision between the guy who gave her nothing but a headache and the man who's giving her everything. And that's the crux of the story. But it's so much more than that because it's really a treatise of what's going on in the culture right now, where a lot of younger women are dating older men, right? And so a lot of people think that that's a creepy thing. So I wanted to do is show why. I wanted to show it in real time. So what we also did is we made it so that you can see that we could put a face to these beautiful people. You know what I'm saying?
The script was wrote, and then you did a pitch deck.
I did a deck first.
You
I did
did
a pitch deck first.
you did a so you had a story in mind.
Yes.
And you did a pitch deck.
Yep.
Submitted the pitch deck,
Yes.
and then they paid you to write it.
No. You don't get paid yet. Oh no.
Okay,
We said
okay.
okay. Okay, yeah. When you submit the pitch deck, they said, okay, we like this, let's move forward. And so then we started working on the script, right? I wrote the script maybe like 2 weeks. Because when you do the pitch deck, for me, I already see the story outlined in my head when I do the pitch deck. So it's easy for me to write it.
So what's next? Like, like, do you have another film that's on deck right now?
Oh yeah.
Are you doing another deck right now? Like
The street rap is the one that's my baby. That's gonna be my magnum opus. I think I'm ready now because that's the one that I absolutely want to direct because I don't think anyone can do it like I can. So that's my baby. And I wanted to get enough experience to be able to learn it properly so I can do it justice. And I
right.
think we're gonna make it a series. Mhm.
So for Sugar Baby, is that a film? So did you sell that film, or will you be getting residuals from that film, or anything like that?
I'm an EP on it as well. So I'm a writer and EP.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Is that so? Does the EP? I don't. And I know this is gonna sound like a weird question. How much
Uh-huh.
does the EP hold? Like, how much of a percentage of it do you own? Do you hold? Do Megamind own the film, or do you own the film?
No, Megamind owns it.
Megamind owns the film, and
Yes.
from it, no matter what Megamind do with the actual film, you get a percentage of whatever is happening from in perpetuity or for a certain amount of time.
I don't want to get too deep into that, but typically how an executive producer goes, executive producer typically is the funding source, or you have what they call different types of credits, vanity credits and whatnot. But typically the executive producer will get some things in perpetuity. But again, all goes back to what you negotiate.
Right. And see, one of the reasons why, see, the business of screenwriting to me is such an intricate little piece of thing, right?
Yes.
It really is, because
Mhm.
so many screenwriters get shafted.
Oh
They
yeah.
get dismissive. And a lot of times, and I say this all the time, a lot of screenwriters just want to hand their script over to somebody, let them go make it a movie, and then wait at home and get a check, you know.
Right.
And what typically can happen is you may never see a quarter, dime, penny,
Oh,
nickel at all. I mean, did you get now, and you don't have to answer this. Did you
uh,
get any upfront money for this?
yes.
Oh, good.
Well, so writing, I will say this, like I said, there are certain rules to the business, right? And when it comes to screenwriting, um, when you're a writer on a project, before it even goes in production, the writer has to get paid.
Right.
So a lot of time, let's say you sell a film um in 2024. There's a chance that film may not even get made until 2026, but you get paid up front. So you better know how to manage your money.
Mm, that's
That's a very important question. Yes, that's a good question.
so. I mean, I think that my thing is, Shaun, I ask a lot of questions because sometimes I'm learning too, man. I
Right.
mean, I've had films produced. I work with production companies. I work with producers.
Mhm.
And the thing of it is, I've wrote films that producers have hired me for to write.
Right.
I turned it in and it didn't get made. I mean, that's like a lot of films too. I mean, I've got paid for those films, but never, they didn't go into production. And so I used to get upset about that
Mhm.
because at the end of the day, you want to see each one of your films come to light and you want to be able to leverage that. So, how are you going to use Sugar Baby, Sex Moguls, the Setup 2, Sex Mogul 2? What
Uh-huh.
grand scheme of it, your leverage street rap in the grand scheme of it all, how are you leverage in all of these films and your books? What
Mhm.
is what is the end game for you?
It's simple. When I'm done, I want to be known as the best writer of my generation. I want our people to have stories that reflect them, that's done in a polished, professional manner. And as far as my career, my business, I want to take pen to pen to the next level. I want pen to pen to be spoken amongst big boys. And I recognize that every film that I sell, every film that I direct is just a big it's just a crown in my portfolio. That's it.
So with that, Shaun, I have one more other question, man. How can people
Okay.
get a chance to how can people get the opportunity to see, like learn more about you?
Okay. Well, number one, you can always follow me on my IG at I am Shaun Sinclair. That's SHAUN Sinclair, SINCLAIR. I share a lot of my stuff there. I only use it for business primarily, but I know I gotta feed the beast. Also, catch me outside this summer, man. But this fall I'm gonna be on book tours a lot. I got a book sign this weekend as well. Um, and just always follow my movement. Go to Tubi, type in Shaun Sinclair, you see all my movies come up. Because I have the setup and Sex Mogul going crazy right now. But I also have Keeping Secrets. I'm in another movie called Fracture. I do some acting as well. I don't like to put that out there because it's like my default. But I'm in Keeping Secrets. I'm in Fractured. I'm in a BET film called Infidelity. That's on BET right now currently. And just follow the movement, man. You catch me anywhere. Catch me outside though. I'll be outside this fall.
I, I
Touch the people
love
again.
I love that, Shaun. So, I know you're a busy man. I don't want to hold you too much. Anything you want to share with us before we get out of here, for anybody that's coming up and feel like, I want to do what Shaun doing. Like, how do you do what you do? What is the
You
motivation?
have to have a you have to have an undying, unyielding, crazy, almost narcissistic belief in yourself. Because the world will tell you no so many times. You have to have a vision, number one. You have to visualize where you want to go and what you're doing, and make sure your vision is rooted in your why, right? Get your why intact, and then dream, man. Like I never thought I'd be lying if I said I never thought I'd be doing this, but to this level, hey man, in graceful law, like you just have to just believe in yourself. 100% undying narcissistic damn near belief in yourself because the world will tell you that you're wrong. The world will tell you that you're crazy until you do it. Then they'll want to learn from you.
Mm.
So
Man, I appreciate you so much, Shaun, for coming on the Film Mechanic Screenwriting Podcast today. And with that being said, I want to thank everyone for listening to us. For everyone that's listening to us, make sure you stop at www.dairytitan.com and get you a copy of the Film Mechanic Screenwriting Workbook, a screenwriting process that sells. And we'll talk to y'all soon.
appreciate you, King.
Yes, sir.